Authenticity. Alright. Kudos, guys. This is an awesome topic. Um, and I think you all raised some really good points. One, I'm sorry, my camera kind of sucks right now and the lighting in here is awful. Two, the authentic self. That is the goal, right? So definitely I think Finn raised a good point of, and something I can definitely relate to is trying to attain the authentic self, and having transition be a part of that. Um, definitely for me, like that's the point I had to really get to before I allowed myself to pursue medical transition, was being sure that this is what I needed for myself, um, separate from what any societal expectation that was put upon me. That it was what I needed to reach my personal self-actualization and how I felt comfortable in my body and how I saw myself and how I wanted to portray myself to the rest of the world. Um, and Laura also raised a fantastic point of, you know, being almost kind of non-committal in how we identify ourselves, because what I think the heart of that is this internal realization, not realization, but acknowledgement and understanding that the self cannot be pinpointed, and that even as we add more and more boxes that we can check off, um, that it's never going to be fully descriptive of who we are. And what the trouble there is feeling that those narratives don't completely encompass your life and cannot explain you and cannot I don't know, it's just feeling that these boundaries and these boxes, they do not encompass all that is unique or wavering or changing about you. Like, you're a person, you're not this thing that simply is, but you're constantly growing, constantly changing, constantly experiencing, constantly learning. And because of that, it's so it's so impossible. It's such an impossible task to say, I am this thing and nothing else. Um, so I really appreciate that acknowledgement from you, Laura, that it is this impossibility, and um, I think that is incredibly authentic. That constant query of the self. Um, Dan, I loved your input, and bringing the philosophy aspect of it, and how we enter the world authentically and are met with these hurdles that we have to overcome, on how people try to restrain or stop what is authentic in us, and we have these frustrations that we have to try and overcome. I find that to be very accurate, and I definitely feel like I've experienced that in my life. Um, and one thing that this whole discussion's really sparked for me is the idea of authenticity and being put in situations where you're forced to be inauthentic. And I really personally balk at those kind of experiences. And I have trouble trying to. I feel like society really puts a high expectation on us giving in to these boxes and these notions of what is appropriate, what is inappropriate, what is what is allowable to know about a person, I guess. Almost to the point of like, and it really comes down to also to like a work atmosphere too. Like what is really, how is knowing a person detrimental to your abilities to perform your job? I don't really know. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I just felt like, I've been a coach, and I feel like a lot of times I'm put in this circumstance where I'm not allowed to know or interact with these people that I'm trying to shape their experience, trying to shape their lives, trying to give them an example of who you can be, how you can be, that to show them that there are so many ways to be outside of our stereotypes of what it is to be a quote unquote suitable human. Um, and finding that they really don't want it, right? Like, if you're in a heteronormative atmosphere with people that have bought into this system their entire 18 to 20 years of life, you know what? They are not interested. They're not interested in you pushing their boundaries of knowledge, you pushing, what is acceptable for a person. You know what I mean? Not being inappropriate with them, but just saying like, this is a lifestyle you can live. Like this is a lifestyle. This is what a human looks like. That doesn't necessarily fall within the boundaries of what you're told is quote unquote normal. And I've definitely run into some barriers just by living my life authentically and laughing when I hear something that's funny, or being stern when people do something that is wrong, right? Like, there's so much coddling that goes on in our society that you cannot be authentic about how something affects you. And I find that to be endlessly frustrating. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah, man. Elliot, I always love your contributions as well, and I totally feel you that I feel like being authentic, definitely you have to take in that part of being authentic with the entire universe, like being authentic, feeling authentic in nature, and allowing yourself that space to be authentically human or animal, and not denying it as we so frequently do in our society. But yeah, I guess that's my authenticity ramble. Lots of frustration. Um, yeah, for the most part, I would say. Just because I really do try to live my life as authentically as possible. I've never been one to um, coddle other people's preconceived notions. I've always been one who likes to break them down more than anything. Um, yeah, so that's that, and I'll catch you guys later.